Now it's hard to say what I want my legacy to be, what I want people to say when I'm long gone. I want people to look at me as a full-on entertainer and a good person. So, we'll talk a few years down the line and we'll see where my head is at then, but that's what I want for right now.
What if Aaliyah's tragic death wasn't just a heartbreaking accident, but part of something much darker? And what if someone close to her, someone who knew the industry inside and out, tried to warn us? That someone was Static Major, a friend, a collaborator, a writer behind some of Aaliyah's most iconic tracks, but more than that, someone who genuinely cared for her. Static and Aaliyah weren't just co-workers, they were tight. From the early 1 in a Million sessions to late-night hangs that fans swear felt like something more. They laughed together, wrote together, traveled together. Their bond was so strong that many people believed they were in love. But before Static's own untimely death, he left behind words, music, and conversations that suggest he was holding on to something he wasn't supposed to say. Static wasn't just another producer. He was one of the few people who had seen Aaliyah up close, who really knew her, not just as a rising star, but as a young woman navigating a ruthless industry. He watched how she was handled, who was always around her, who controlled her time, her movement, her voice. And over time, he began to notice things that didn't sit right. In what fans now refer to as his last diary, a collection of personal notes, lyrics, and quiet reflections, Static hinted that Aaliyah's death wasn't just an unfortunate accident. He believed there were people who wanted her silenced. And when you look at what happened, you can understand why. Aaliyah was just 15 years old when she secretly married R. Kelly, her mentor and producer at the time. According to reports, Kelly had a forged marriage certificate created that listed her age as 18. They were married on August 31st, 1994, in secret. Aaliyah's family found out and had the marriage annulled in February 1995, just months later. But the damage was already done. R. Kelly was in his late 20s. Aaliyah was barely in high school. The industry knew what was happening, and no one did anything. Even worse, many believe this was just the beginning of a long pattern of exploitation. Years later, as Aaliyah's career skyrocketed, two more powerful men entered the picture, Jay-Z and Dame Dash. Both men were reportedly interested in Aaliyah. Jay-Z brought her around the Rockefeller camp, and there were strong rumors of a budding romance. But ultimately, it was Dame Dash who became Aaliyah's boyfriend. The two dated seriously in the year before her death. According to Dame, Aaliyah confided in him about the trauma she experienced early in her career, especially regarding R. Kelly. She never went into deep detail, but Dame said she was hurt, guarded, and trying to heal.
I guess I think homie has to answer some questions right now. That if he doesn't, it just, again, it's gonna make people ask more questions. And me as a person that knew him, I'm very curious to know the stuff that they say about Aaliyah. I mean, I'm human. And when I look at things, like again, a lot of things are weird right now. So I'm reflecting a lot. So I'm thinking, I'm like, well, homie might, he was salty a little bit because he was trying to get at Aaliyah and I was trying to get at her. But, and I know that there are people that benefited from her death.
August 25th, 2001, Aaliyah had just wrapped up filming her music video for Rock the Boat in the Bahamas. The shoot ended early. A private jet was arranged. But something about that flight felt rushed, only meant to carry 8 passengers. But 9 people boarded, including Aaliyah and her team. The aircraft was overloaded by hundreds of pounds, and its center of gravity was thrown off. To make matters worse, the pilot, Luis Morales III, had forged credentials and tested positive for cocaine and alcohol after the crash. Seconds after takeoff, the plane lost control and slammed into the ground, just 200 feet from the runway. Aaliyah was killed instantly. The official cause? Pilot error. Overloaded aircraft. But for many, including Static, the story never sat right. In the months and years after Aaliyah's death, Static started becoming more guarded, but also more intentional. Through lyrics, interviews, and cryptic messages, he began leaving clues. He didn't name names, but he spoke about betrayal, about manipulation, about young women being used by the very people meant to protect them. He warned of industry snakes, of how fame can become a trap, especially for someone like Aaliyah, brilliant, beautiful, and constantly being watched by powerful men. He never said it outright, but the warnings were there. He was trying to tell us something.
A whole lot of y'all probably don't know, but you know what I'm saying? I'm responsible for like majority of the hits that came out, the big ones, your favorite ones, the last decade. I did Pony, I did Dirty South, Can Y'all Really Feel Me, East Coast Feel Me. I did Rock the Boat, I did It's So Contagious, Returns My Pages. My first time working with Dr. Drake. What's up, Doc? Me and Doc put that down and Doc moved so fast. We did the song. By the time I got back in Louisville, I heard the motherfucker on the radio. That's how fast it moves when you do a monster joint like that. I did Same OG. I did So Anxious, which a whole lot of babies was made that year. You know what I'm saying? Courtesy of me. Y'all like to get back to the population. I wrote. I wrote, Shorty, say what's your price? Just to back it up, you can hold my ice. My first time working with Nas, you know what I'm saying? And once again, it was magic, you know what I'm saying? What else I did? Don't change the game for these hoes. We play the game like we suppose. Yeah, it was me on that hook too. And them niggas didn't even call me for the video, but it's all good.
Then, just as questions were beginning to resurface, Static died. It was 2008. He was 33 years old, in the middle of a comeback, and had just finished working on Lil Wayne's hit single Lollipop. The cause? Complications from a medical procedure. But again, the timing was off. The energy felt strange. Two people, Aaliyah and Static, both young, talented, and beginning to challenge the system, both gone. Was Static silenced before he could say more? Let's lay out what we know. Static and Aaliyah had been close friends and collaborators since the mid-90s, with undeniable chemistry on and off camera. In his final recordings and behind-the-scenes footage, Static's tone shifted. He became more guarded, more careful. Multiple outlets, including Hot New Hip Hop, have pointed to a hidden relationship and hinted at a diary or unreleased material where Static opens up. Fans and insiders believe his sudden death was more than coincidence, especially as he hinted at knowing what really happened to Aaliyah. We may never know the full truth about what happened on that flight in the Bahamas, but what's becoming clearer is that some people knew more than they were allowed to say, and Static? He tried to say it anyway. So the question now is, was it really an accident? Or was it a cover-up that cost 2 lives? If this story shook you, hit like, drop your thoughts in the comments, and